Hello, and thanks so much for watching Proactive New York. I'm Christine Corrado. With me right now is Gerald Commissiong from Todos Medical. Gerald, great to see you. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks for asking. Gerald, you are coming to us from the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and today we're going to talk about how you have recorded sales of $3.2 million for November. This is due mostly to increased coronavirus testing, is that right?
No, that's exactly right. Yep.
Can you talk a bit about why you're seeing an increase? Is this due to people traveling from the holidays?
I think it's several fold. The number of cases is going up, and when that happens and the positivity rate goes up, that really means that you need to increase testing. Certainly, the holidays, both before and after, are going to see an increase in testing, and then as we head into Christmas and Hanukkah and other holidays, and into the new year, it's pretty clear that there's going to be an increase in testing as people become more aware that the spread is really conditioned on testing, and CDC guidelines now are actually reducing the need for quarantine if you have tests. And then beyond that, obviously with the new administration coming in, they've also indicated that they plan on increasing testing substantially. And so, taken together, we really have a lot of demand from our clients. And so that's what I'm doing here at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. One of our clients is in the process of completing the automation install. And so I'm working here to help them get through that.
So with this new administration, are you expecting this growth to continue into 2021?
Yes. I mean, certainly what's going to happen, we expect testing to increase. We expect different kinds of testing to come onto the market as the vaccine gets rolled out. And we begin to really understand what an immune response looks like. I think while it's very good that it seems as though most of the infections in the trial were in the control group, that bodes quite well. There were still infections in the treated group, and so what we don't know is how this is ultimately going to play out. And so even once you have a vaccine, if you get sick, they're going to absolutely want to test you early and often, and they're also going to want to do other kinds of tests, T-cell tests, antibody tests. So we definitely see a bull market for testing for the foreseeable future.
And speaking of developing other kinds of tests, I know Todos is developing a 3CL Protease diagnostic test. What is that being used for, and when will it actually be launched?
So really what that is going to be used for is to determine whether an infection is active. So you could see kind of two ways. One, you could use it as a funnel because it's somewhat of an easier test to catch all coronaviruses, which is what the test will do. And then the propensity for most coronaviruses right now is for it being COVID. And so there's, then you kind of create a funnel and you confirm with a PCR or an antigen test. That's one way. We think that's not going to be the most valuable way. The most valuable way is actually the opposite. When people are having these PCR and these antigen tests, to understand whether that infection that they have is an active infection and replicating, and therefore you have to be much more concerned about whether you're contagious to others, or in fact, if your body has kind of overcome the infection and now you're not contagious anymore. So, I think that's where the real test is going to be as an adjunct to PCR testing. And so it fits quite well with our strategy of helping our clients get up and running with the PCR testing, and then giving them a value add, being able to tell, okay, this person's been tested 3 times, they were twice positive for the 3CL protease, looking at this 3rd time, they're not positive anymore. Their symptoms are clearing up. This person's probably not contagious. We think that's really the test that should be used to determine whether someone can be released from quarantine. It's not really just a PCR test, because those can be positive for a long time, even if you're not actively infected. It's the 3CL test. And then similarly, when we get to point of care, that's really going to be an adjunct to the other things that we're doing with antigen testing. So as that gets, really larger numbers come out in the point of care, and people are kind of taking these tests every day, if you do get a positive, you'll be able to see whether that positive is active or not, or potentially it's a false positive, which we know that happens a lot with those tests.
And we have talked about this before, but we are seeing more biotechs come out with vaccines. For example, the UK just approved Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine. So in a post-pandemic world, when we don't have any more coronavirus testing going on? What will Todos be working on?
So, what we are going to continue to work on is our platform technology, which is based on cancer and Alzheimer's and immunosurveillance. Part of that immunosurveillance, is going to include viruses, because we obviously are going to have to make sure that this virus, once we start to get rid of it, it stays away. So it's going to be important to continue to test as people get sick. But we expect that we'll be bringing on some of our other tests from our proprietary platforms that we had pre-COVID. We also think, especially this 3CL test for other coronaviruses, I think people are going to be quite concerned for a period of time that, there might be something else around the corner. I'm not necessarily certain if that's going to happen. There's going to be mutations in the virus, especially as the vaccine comes out. And so, there's still going to be a lot of surveillance to make sure that, if we are able to kind of push it back into a corner, that we keep it at bay.
I'm getting worried now. I don't want to see another form of the coronavirus. Gerald, thanks so much. Appreciate the time today.
Absolutely.